Good morning, Anna Brooks here, and welcome to today's audio blog. Why SMART goals are actually the stupidest method for goal setting and the method for goal setting that actually works. Since the beginning of time, or at least since personal development and goals, etc., became the most popular buzzwords around, people jumped on the SMART goals bandwagon and have been flogging it ever since. In school, in the fitness industry, and in any workplace training situations, as well as countless others, you can pretty much guarantee someone will bring up the importance of SMART goals. Now, here is where the problem lies. And before I launch into the problems that you may have experienced trying to set and implement SMART goals, let me say that they do have a use, as I will explain later, but it isn't for those who intend to live a life outside of the norm. For those happy to settle into what life gives them with just a few comfortable additions here and there, those who choose fitting in over standing out, there is a place for these goals, because truth be told, that is exactly who they were invented for. But what if that isn't you? What if you are the 1%? What if mediocre and fitting in and not pushing the envelope terrify you much more than the risk taken to achieve a life a few even dare to dream of? Well then, my dear, you have been ripped off and being told that SMART goal setting is the way that you will get there, wasted time and effort. Feeling annoyed? Well, here comes the good news. The turnaround for someone like you, once you stop buying into the masses goal setting technique, is super fast, like immediate. But hold up for just a moment. I know you're curious, but you naturally want to know first, what the hell is actually wrong with SMART goals? Well, let's start at S, specific. Trust the masses to shut down all hope of growth and imagination right at the first letter. They say specific is good. If you don't make your goals super clear and identifiable down to the last minute detail, you will fail. What the 1%ers know is that getting laser focused on one single outcome is a guaranteed disaster when you are talking about dreams and goals that lie outside of the usual sphere. Talk to any hugely successful man or woman in their chosen field and lifestyle, and they will tell you that almost every success they ever had was not on their original plan. They had to come at it with the end in mind and trust that the journey would work itself out. For example, their goals of their dream body, house, lifestyle, career, they had to focus on where it was all going, but not on the exact house, exact body fat percentage, or exact job at the exact firm. Because what happens when you achieve that goal? Do you suddenly feel happy and contented and that you can now be satisfied? Of course not. That's a total lie. And if you don't achieve the specific goal of, say, losing exactly 10 kilos, then you are a failure and have to suffer and eat your way back to square one. Sounds moronic, but the sad truth is that this is exactly what most of us do, because we are programmed to believe that as a single specific goal is all that matters and anything else that is less is just not good enough. What a great way to ensure you set yourself up for failure and rebound. Specific is not what you need. A specific vision of what you want is what will get you there, not a preset and defined goal that will at best mean nothing when it is achieved, and at worst set you on a cycle of fail, beat yourself up, start again. Okay, measurable. This again relates back to being specific. If you set a specific goal of 10 kilos weight loss, then you can measure by weighing yourself. Duh. Let's keep this short. What happens when your goal is tied to a number on a scale that can vary based on hundreds of reasons, not all of which are under your constant control? Yep, you feel like a failure. Beat yourself up. Back to square one. I will cover how a goal can and does need to be still measurable later, but not in this way. Achievable? Realistic? Oh dear. These two letters are basically one and the same, and the number one letters that grind my goat. What the hell does that even mean? That somehow there are goals that cannot be achieved? Really? This kind of limited thinking is exactly what the masses eat up, because their friends and family and media dictate what is achievable or realistic for them, and therein lies their limit. Oh, you can lose 10 kilos, but probably not more than that because you are big boned and your mum's sister / long lost pet iguana has always been a bit bigger, so it's just how you will be too. Genetics. Let me tell you something. What is realistic is determined by the masses by what has already been done. As if the world and society has not been built on a history of people who have done things that others never did, and this is why we now know the world is not flat. Enjoy our food heated up in microwaves, and just Google it is not mumbo jumbo, but a phrase that almost everyone understands. The world is full of examples of people and goals that were not realistic, and in the minds of others around them were not achievable. But hey, they did it anyway. Lucky them, right? Not so much. What is realistic is self-determined. Stop letting others tell you otherwise. When someone says that it isn't realistic or achievable, they mean for them. And of course, timed. Ah, yes, timed. Because if 6 months from now rolls around and that scale doesn't show 10 kilos, then you have failed. Big fat failure. Go eat your sorrows away. I think you get the drift. So let me tell you how your goal setting should look if you actually want to achieve even more stuff than you could imagine, and have it be a constant cycle of constant success without the beating yourself up and starting again bit. Firstly, let's get really unspecific. Let's say your goal is to lose 10 kilos, or it was, and now you need to upgrade that goal to something that actually works. Well, what do you really want? What will losing 10 kilos actually give you? Because I guarantee you, it isn't the joy of stepping onto a scale and having the numbers 10 kilos less come up and show you that your mass is now 10 kilos less. How do I know that? Well, because it was then, if it was, then you already thought of other ways to make that goal easier, i.e. cut off a limb. If that was truly, absolutely all that you desired and wanted, that option would have crossed your mind. But it's not what you want. You want something else. You want what 10 kilos less means to you. And what it means can be different for everyone. For me, my weight loss meant a feeling of lightness, freedom, sexiness, and power. I felt I could do and be anything. I wanted to buy any clothes and know that basically anything looked good. Never worry about a roll or a lump. Eat good food effortlessly and not even desire junk. To feel like I was living up to my worth, that my outside was equal to my inside strength. All that stuff had nothing to do with the scale, obviously. What a dumb goal. But that stuff is specific, and that is the stuff that made me commit to the goal, not 10 kilos less on a scale. Seriously. And what does a piece of plastic and metal actually mean to me? Nothing. What does the way I feel within myself and see myself mean? Everything. So get specific, but not about what you want, but about what getting what you want means to you. What about measuring? Making sure your goal is realistic. Because heaven forbid you should stretch yourself too far and fail, because failure is the ultimate fear, right? No, much better to settle for something less, attainable, approved by others. Those who succeed on a grand scale, the 1%ers just like you, make a habit of often and consistently setting huge goals that are nowhere near realistic and scare the hell out of them because they have no idea how they will achieve them. See that word? How, not if, how. Because guess what is no longer your enemy? Failure. Failure is not in fact a thing. It's a word that people invented to keep the masses in check. If you set a goal and you fail, well, you probably didn't set it smart. Go back and aim a little lower, and then lower again. Those who succeed know that if something doesn't work the first time, what they have is a very valuable lesson. One that if they learn from, they can increase their chances of success next try, or realise that they are going for the wrong goal after all and redirect. Oh, and not timing your goals, the best thing you can do. Because guess what putting a time limit on it does? It sets you up for two failures. One is that you can't do it sooner than that time because your mind is so focused on that end date. And the other is if you don't succeed by set time, then you have, that's right, failed. But you need to set a time or you won't get a rocket up your butt to do it, right? Yeah. So here it is. Now. Your goal is being achieved now. The moment you decide to do it, it is already there. You are already that slim, healthy, vibrant girl who effortlessly eats to nourish and for who junk food is just an occasional indulgence. You become that person immediately with your mind. Then the rest just follows. No, you don't physically lose the 10 kilos in that moment, but you do in your mind. And that means your goal will happen just as soon as it possibly can. Maybe in 6 months, or maybe in 3 or 2. But why set a limit of having to take a whole 6 months to do something you could have done in 3? Finally, get rid of all the ideas about what is realistic or achievable. That is not a thing. It is an opinion. So it is time to raise your opinion about what you are capable of. The most successful among us have always set huge goals, well above anything they could truly be specific or timed about. And along the way, they had many lessons, and they continued. And what they reached was so far above even their loftiest goals, and definitely eons above what anyone considered realistic. So they wanted to earn 1 million this year and they only earned 750,000? Boo-hoo. Better than their first realistic goal of 100 grand. So they wanted to be lean enough to do a fitness model comp by the end of the year, and instead they achieved their dream body by June and then decided they don't want to compete and instead got a photo shoot and went on a dream holiday for a month to enjoy their body in a bikini. Yeah, boo-hoo. Your goal will always change, grow, do complete U-turns, and there will be a lifetime of lessons. But remember, it's about finding your way to the how and not being stuck on the if. You will always find a way if you believe hard enough that you must. If you believe a failure is the end, then it will be. So time to push aside those smart goals and doing what is right and start setting some lofty goals and start doing what you really want. See you guys, remember to live life on purpose.